In the final moments of a prisoner's life right before execution, inmates are given one last meal of their wish. And seeing as how deranged some of these criminals are, these meals can range from something extremely weird all the way down to a feast made for a king. So what exactly did these high profile inmates choose to eat in their final hour? First up, James Edward Smith. James was convicted of murdering an employee and was to be executed on June 26, 1990 via lethal injection. Now, when it came down to getting his last meal, he made one of the most bizarre requests ever recorded. James asked for a meal of Rayconda dirt. And in case you're wondering why he wanted that specific type of dirt, well, according to soil experts, that sort of dirt was to be eaten in voodoo rituals in order to assist in reincarnation. That's right, he wanted to be reincarnated. However, his request was denied and instead he got a cup of yogurt. But right before he died, James told the guards that his ghost would haunt the prison for 300 years. Up next, Judy Bonanno. Judy was a very sick individual as she murdered her husband, her boyfriend, and her paralyzed son. But an additional charge in her sentencing was the attempted murder of another one of her boyfriends. This sort of reputation gave her the nickname the Black Widow, and in 1998, she was sentenced to death via electric chair. But as elaborate as her murders were, her last meal was a simple one. All she asked for was broccoli, asparagus, strawberries, and hot tea. Next, Charles Walker. Charles was a lifetime criminal, always in and out of jail. But in 1969, 2 months after being released, he shot and killed a couple just for beer money. Sentenced to death via lethal injection in 1990, his last meal was a wild rabbit, a biscuit, and a blackberry pie. Now, eating a wild rabbit is weird as hell, but there's absolutely nothing weird about subscribing to this channel, cause here we literally talk about the craziest stuff. Trust me, subscribe, you'll be entertained. Up next, Gary Carl Simmons Jr. Gary had one of the most lavish last meals in prison history. In 1996, this grocery store butcher was convicted of murdering a 21-year-old, getting the death sentence in 2012. For his final meal, Gary went all out ordering a supreme deep dish pizza with double everything, another pizza with 3 cheeses, olives, bell peppers, tomatoes, garlic, and Italian sausage, a total of 5 pounds worth of Parmesan cheese, 10 cups of ranch dressing, 8 ounces of jalapeno nacho cheese, 4 ounces of sliced jalapenos, 2 20-ounce cherry cokes, 2 large strawberry shakes, 2 pints of strawberry ice cream, and 1 family-sized bag of Doritos nacho cheese flavor, bringing the final calorie count up to 29,000 calories. And to this day, no one really knows if he actually finished all that food or not. Next, Velma Barfield, a grandmother and churchgoer. Many people considered her to be the perfect angel. However, somehow everyone around her would suddenly drop dead. Turned out Velma was a deranged serial killer who murdered a total of 6 people before she was finally caught and arrested, then sentenced to death by lethal injection. This 52-year-old grandma had her choice of any last meal, but she declined anything lavish and instead she chose to eat a bag of cheese doodles and Coca-Cola. Next up, Thomas J. Grasso, the murderer who dined like royalty. Thomas was sent to prison for killing 2 helpless seniors, an 87-year-old woman whom he got rid of using Christmas lights while then stealing her television set and a total of $12. Also, an 81-year-old man whom he stole social security checks from. Now, when it came down to his last meal, Thomas went absolutely ballistic, ordering a feast for himself. He asked for a half a dozen barbecued spare ribs, 2 dozen steamed mussels and 2 dozen steamed clams, a double cheeseburger from Burger King, 2 strawberry milkshakes, half a pumpkin pie with whipped cream and diced strawberries, and to top it all off, a 16-ounce can of spaghetti and meatballs. But while this murderer should have been thankful for the feast he got, cause realistically it was way more than what he deserved, he actually wasn't. Thomas had the audacity to complain and say, "I did not get my SpaghettiOs, I got spaghetti. I want the press to know this." Next, Eileen Carol Warnos. Nicknamed the Florida Highway Killer, Eileen was convicted of murdering and robbing 7 men. Placed on death row and given her choice of any meal under $20, Eileen declined, simply because in her head, There was no way she was gonna die, so all she asked for was a simple cup of coffee, and her final words right before the lethal injection was, "I would just like to say I'm sailing with the rocks and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus." Up next, Lawrence Russell Brewer. Lawrence was an absolute savage in every sort of way you could think of, and he was a part of the Triple K group. After the murder of a handicapped black man, he was arrested and sentenced to death. As for his last meal, he requested 2 chicken fried steaks with gravy and sliced onions, a triple meat bacon cheeseburger, a cheese omelet with ground beef, tomatoes, onions, bell peppers, and jalapenos, 1 large bowl of fried okra with ketchup, a pound of barbecued meat with half a loaf of white bread, 3 fajitas, a meat lover's pizza from Pizza Hut, 3 cans of root beer, a pint of Bluebell vanilla ice cream, and a slab of peanut butter fudge with crushed peanuts. But after being granted such an extravagant meal, as a slap to everyone's face, once the food arrived, he simply said, "I'm not hungry," and refused to eat it. This little stunt pulled by Lawrence in 2011 made Texas officials abolish any sort of special meal requests moving forward. Now, as for Nico Jenkins, what's his last meal? Well, after being sentenced to 450 years in prison, he was given the death penalty, and as of now, we still don't have a date on that yet. But when the time comes, I'll keep you guys in the loop. And while we wait for that, might as well check out the video I made on him explaining what he did to get 450 years behind bars. At any rate, destroy that like button for the algorithms, subscribe with the bell notifications on, and I'll see you guys next Saturday where the videos get crazier. Peace.